Yeah, I bet. Well, let's do that.
Hello. Well, I mean,
Such a young
bring your points too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Who's that? Yeah.
Are you doing the Oh, yeah.
Picture. Going to take notes tonight? Okay. You did.
Maybe you got to back to work.
Congratulations and best wishes. My husband and I are planning to bring this here too.
Yeah, I told Zach.
Don't want to step in front of the camera. Well, it's nice to hear. Did you hear what she said?
Yeah, I got here. The last one. The spotlight's up there flaring on us.
I guess I have to go
It happened right on the corner. They had a dimmer switch for them.
How's that?
Those are the one. That's better.
This is.
Yeah, they're a little better. I don't need to try that. This is one of your starring subjects.
She just had her 100th birthday. That's awesome. Congratulations. Very true. That's great. I think that's from her My name is Harry Hartman. I am the Gettysburg Times. I'm sorry? Harry Hartman. I am the Gettysburg Times. Times, newspaper. I am the newspaper.
I know how Jim feels, Jay.
I thought today, well, I could read it. I can't imagine how much pressure it is to sit up here and just think and talk at the same time.
Jump to one of you don't know. We had this issue with Vanessa last time too, remember? Don't drop your phone.
Good evening. My name is Niles Ellenson. I'm chairman of the Candidate Information Committee, which is a committee of the Villager Council here at Cross Keys Village. We've organized this debate this evening so that folks can become familiar with the candidates who are running for the position of county commissioner. And we hope that everyone will listen attentively, and we'll hope this information that is given tonight will help you in deciding who you wish to cast your ballot for, and that's on November the 3rd. Our moderator this evening is Alex Hayes, who is managing editor of the Gettysburg Times. Let's give a welcome to Alex.
Thank you very much, Niles. Good evening and welcome to Cross Keys Village, the Brethren Home Community here in Oxford Township, Adams County. As Niles said, my name is Alex Hayes and I am the managing editor of the Gettysburg Times. And I'd like to thank Cross Keys for offering up the space for tonight's voter information, or for offering the space in the Cross Keys Voter Information Group for helping to organize tonight's event. 4 men hope to fill one of 3 open seats on the Adams County Board of Commissioners: Jim Martin, Randy File, Marty Qualley, and Harry Stokes. Adams County voters will decide on November 3rd which 3 will be successful in their quest. On November 3rd, you will be able to vote for 2 of those 4 men, and then the top 3 will take their office in January. Don't ask me why you can only vote for 2. I have no idea. It makes no sense to me. But you can only vote for 2. Just a very short rundown on how the night will play out. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to give an opening statement before we move on to the questions. Each candidate, if a candidate is specifically mentioned by another candidate, the candidate mentioned will get a 1-minute rebuttal. I'm going to ask the candidates to try to keep these to a minimum because we do want this night to go smoothly and do not want a whole lot of back and forth because we have a lot of issues we need to get to tonight. As a rule of thumb, I ask all the candidates to be very respectful to one another. Interrupting a candidate will not be tolerated. I also request respect from the audience. You guys are here to observe, and I want to thank everybody for coming out today. But let's please guarantee a smooth evening and refrain from outbursts of any kind, even clapping. I always say the State of the Union address would be a lot shorter if they would just cut out all that clapping, so let's do the same here tonight. For the opening statements, also we have a timer up front for the candidates. You'll see when you have 30 seconds left, and when it says stop, just please wrap up your thought as quickly as possible so we can move on. For the opening statements, we're going to start with Jim Martin. Jim unfortunately could not be here tonight, so his wife Jenny will read his opening statement. You can read it right from your mic.
Thank you, Alex. Jim's absence tonight is as a result of recovering from major surgery. He regrets not being able to participate, but truly respects and appreciates the efforts everyone has invested in this evening. Any of you who know Jim know he would be here if at all possible. As most voters are aware, Jim has nearly completed his first term in office. The success of the present Board of Adams County Commissioners and the confidence Jim has gained through top to bottom practical experience gives him the desire and drive to serve a second term. Additionally, this desire stems from a heartfelt responsibility to serve the citizens of Adams County with the valuable background gained while in office. Many of you have probably seen the main campaign points on Jim's ads and mailers. Proven experience, leadership, common sense, and vision. This is not just rhetoric. Each one is rooted in provable actions. As you hear tonight of the many accomplishments that have been realized by the present Board of Commissioners, remember that Jim was integrally involved in each of them. His experience, both before he took office in the private and government sectors, and during these past 4 years, has served as essential in the decision-making this office requires. His leadership has been demonstrated by his willingness to make tough decisions, to take the bull by the horns, and sometimes do what is not popular but necessary. Common sense has been employed every day in dealing with the various duties of the office, and vision is experienced in projects such as the emergency radios and the Human Services Building, which will serve Adams County well into the future. So as you enter the voting booth on November 3rd, we respectfully ask for your vote for Jim Martin for Adams County Commissioner.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Martin. Mr. Crowley, your opening statement, please.
Ginny quickly leaves the stage. I'd like to thank you, Ginny, for standing in for your husband. I have met few people with a heart as big as Jim Martin's, and I know he will be fine. My name is Marty Qualley, one of your Adams County Commissioners. In 2012, I promised to reduce county rents, upgrade our emergency radio system, and improve county finances. We now have lower rents, a modern radio system, and a historically high bond rating. Some would say mission accomplished. That's not enough. I've been asking many times this year, with all the crap you take, why are you running again? Simply, I love Adams County, and I want to see it improve. If it means taking a few punches, that's fine. It's worth it for our staff, and it's worth it for our residents. This board has done a good job, but we can do better. If re-elected, I promise to refocus economic development and preservation efforts, strengthen county finances, further streamline government, and continue to listen to the public. I hear from many in the public that this board is doing a good job. On November 3rd, the problem is you cannot vote for this board. On November 3rd, you will vote for 2 candidates. You have 4 qualified candidates to choose from. Which 2 of them share your values? So on November 3rd, with those 2 votes, you will elect 3 of us. I am asking for one of those votes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Qualley. Mr. Qualley, your opening statement, please.
All right, first of all, welcome to all those in attendance this evening, and also the Cross Keys Village residents watching from the rooms and those viewing at home. My name is Randy Quayle, and I am the Adams County Commissioner Board Chairman. I'm also a member of the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania Board of Directors for Region 3, which is comprised of 10 counties to our west. I'm honored to say this is the 3rd year I've been voted to that position by my 29 peers from those counties. I'm a native of Adams County, having grown up in Gettysburg and on the family fruit farm in Cashtown. I've been involved in public and community service for over 38 years. My educational background is Administration of Justice from American University and a Master's in Public Administration from Shippensburg. And my professional background is 30 years as a United States law enforcement ranger for the National Park Service. I was also a Cumberland Township Supervisor, was on the Police Commission, Municipal Authority Board, and Planning Board of Cumberland Township. 4 years ago was a tumultuous time in Adams County government when myself and the current board ran for office. To name a few of the many issues the new board faced was property reassessment appeals totaling about 4,000, down from 8,000 in 2011. A desperate need to finally act on a new emergency radio system, a fleet of vehicles that was aging, not dependable, and very costly in repairs, a very small IT department for a large informational and data-driven organization that needed significant upgrades to software, hardware, connectivity, and security backup. A dedicated law enforcement training range that had been given lip service for 15 years, the need to improve communications with staff and public, improve communication with courts, as well as instituting priority preservation mapping, the need to review the efficiency of operations and fiscal sensibility for county rents and leases, reviewing the efficiency of operations and customer service in several departments. In the course of this evening, you will hopefully hear how these issues either were or are being addressed. This evening, my guess is you will hear some different perspectives of how it used to be done a while ago, perspectives of how it is done currently, and a vision of how it should be done in the future. I appreciate you joining us this evening for this conversation.
Thank you very much, Mr. File. And finally, Mr. Stokes, your opening statement, please.
Good evening, and it's a great pleasure to be here and with my fellow citizens, Randy and Marty, and best wishes to Jim. And I want to commend this board for their hard work, their diligence, and their devotion to their job. I seek to join this board in order to bring 13 years of experience from previous boards into this board. And you will perhaps hear tonight some of the reasons why I feel the perspective is needed in our next Board of Commissioners. And I will talk a little bit more about that, of course, during the debate and then in the closing statements. But let me just tell you a little bit about myself for right now. I am a forester by training. I've worked in energy and natural resources in the private sector for many years. I had the privilege of serving on Gettysburg Borough Council from 1986 to 91. And then I joined a Board of Commissioners, Ron Hikus and Bob Klunk. And then in fall of 91, I was elected to a Board of Commissioners that was composed of Dick Wainwright, Tom Weaver, and myself. I served on 2 additional Boards of Commissioners and retired from the board in January of 2004. So I have 13 years of experience in county office, and that edges out these guys by just about a year or 2. But these people are now veterans, and what I hope to do is bring my perspective and my experience from those previous boards to help 2 of these 3 fellows out in the new board. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stokes. First question, we'll start with Mr. Qualley. What do you believe is the most important issue that is currently facing the Adams County Commissioners?
Right now, I do think there is a concern within Adams County that a lot of people are seeing an economy that's just languishing. It's been sitting around for a while. And the hard part is a lot of people are under the misperception that we can only have economic development or preservation. Very few people within county government, very few people within the partners that we work with on the municipal level, with the Economic Development Corporation, Land Conservancy, Penn State Extension, very few of them see this as a one or the other. Many of them see this as you have to have both. We have studies that show that our agricultural and tourism economy both need open land. Without it, our economy will falter. But at the same time, we used to have a manufacturing base that is no longer here. We have lost substantial businesses over the past couple of decades. We need to find ways to put industrial sites on industrial land, houses where houses belong, and farms where farms belong. If we can get that, we will improve our quality of life, we will bring in a tax base that will help our economy and help us across the board. To me, that is the single largest issue facing Adams County next year.
Thank you very much, Mr. Qualley. Mr. Stokes, your answer to that question.
Marty, I commend you for that answer. My view is that the most pressing issue facing us is the question of how we grow. How do we protect, preserve, and strengthen our historic boroughs? How do we preserve our greatly valued agricultural lands? How do we prevent sprawl development and incompatible development from harming what we have and detracting from the value that is Adams County? Comprehensive planning is a key to this. Other types of planning, such as watershed and water quality planning, all of these things are very important. One of the reasons I decided to throw my hat back into the ring was because I became concerned that this Board of Commissioners had moved away from a historic vision for the growth and development of Adams County that we helped to embody in two rather extraordinary comprehensive plans that we did in years past. And these were focused on preventing sprawl and promoting true sustainable development. And they had really focused in on our production sector to try to preserve, protect, and strengthen that production sector. Because if we remain a county that produces, then our service sectors will remain strong as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pyle.
I also tend to agree that the economic development is extremely important. I also happen to think emergency services is extremely important, and we're moving toward a perfect storm, but I'll concentrate on economic development. There's no doubt that I think in Adams County, we seem somewhat conflicted, a little schizophrenic about our desire for rural, agrarian, and historic heritage, but also our desire for economic development for our tax base and jobs. Now, I fully understand that agriculture is certainly economic development. There's no doubt about that. But I also think that we need to balance preservation and economic development, and I think you can have both. There is a need for, in my opinion, a diverse mixture of economic development to spread the field, such as we have agriculture, we have tourism as a big industry, but also we need more manufacturing, distribution, logistics, retail, and agritourism, et cetera. I think we need all of that, and we need to support and recognize the importance. So this is a good sort of segue just to show you. Planning did a chart for me, and from 2012 to 2015, it's really, the question isn't how much money you spend on preservation, it's how effective you're using your dollars and how you're preserving. And here's a chart right here that shows that since 2012, we actually spent $2.8 million, almost $2.9 in county funds, and $6.3 million in outside funds to preserve 4,367 acres of land. You're welcome to look at this after the forum, but I think balancing those two is extremely important, and I think we can do it. I think we need to do it, and I think we need the diversity to do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pyle. The next question actually kind of piggybacks off of that one. What ideas do you have for increasing the availability of jobs here in Adams County? Mr. Stokes?
I have a letter, or a white paper, you might say, on economic development, which is out on the table outside the door there, and I have a few copies up here, so I'd be glad to pass that along after this session. We do need to attract a diversity of jobs and commercial and industrial activity. And I believe we can, because we are in a new era when, which is enabled by our digital age. And what this means is that we can conduct businesses with a nationwide and even global scope right here from Adams County. Another way of saying it is you don't have to be on Madison Avenue anymore to be an advertising agency. You can do it right here in Adams County. So there's a tremendous opportunity to bring high-value jobs into Adams County, and there are some great examples of businesses already here that are doing this. Now, this type of activity has already taken root in our agricultural production sector. You see many young people coming back to run their family farms or help their parents run the farms, but they're doing more than just running a traditional farm operation. They're doing a lot of direct marketing. They're occupying unusual high-value or more high-value market niches for Adams County produce. So that's just one example of the type of potential that exists here. We want to realize that as a rural economy, we can in fact, in this digital age, play a role second to none. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Mr. Pyle.
Well, again, there's no doubt, back to ag, we definitely need to, ag is a strong base for us. And I think, I was at a Penn State event about a year ago, and the ag technology is just exploding right now. It's exploding all over the country. And I think we do need to tap into that ag technology and theoretically in Adams County to help keep our youth and create low impact industry, ag technology and technology overall. For some reason, we've had difficulty attracting that type of business to Adams County, even though we're so close to Baltimore, Washington, Philadelphia, et cetera. But again, I think that I'm back to my diverse mixture. I mean, we need agriculture, we need tourism, but there's no doubt manufacturing, distribution, logistics, retail, agritourism. As you all know, agritourism is growing by leaps and bounds in Adams County. In fact, interestingly, the wine industry has morphed a hard cider industry that's now 80% of the market, which is wonderful. And the houses and the reeds and the Adams County winery, et cetera. So that's wonderful. But again, what I'm basically about, and I think what this board is basically about, is a balance. We're for a balance in a lot of things. I don't think we're really far to one side or far to the other side. We believe in a balance. So again, diversity, mixture, and also just as an ending, we really need to support and do support our Economic Development Corporation and our Industrial Development Authority, because they're sort of the boots on the ground to help go out and recognize and bring development. And I will tell you folks, it's been difficult. The boom times of the 1990s and the early 2000s, they don't exist anymore. So you really got to go out and scrap and scrabble for what you get. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Qualley.
Sounds like such an easy question, and there's so many parts to it. Part of me says that the number one thing we need here is we need to change our attitude a little bit. We need to have a little better attitude of acceptance and cooperation in Adams County, and I think we're getting there. When you ask about jobs, then you're automatically going to, well, are we bringing something in? Are we expanding what's here? Now you're triggering local planning, which means you need to work with municipalities. You need to work with the Council of Governments, which is why I try to attend almost every single Council of Governments meeting, and I'm on 2 of their subcommittees. It means planning, which is why I'm the county liaison to the Planning Commission. If you don't work with that board, you can't help to establish what it is the community wants. The Economic Development Corporation. I'm also on the board of the Economic Development Corporation. I attend every single IDA meeting, the Industrial Development Authority. You need to have I'm also a chef. You need to have a little spoon in every single pot while you're stirring it because they're all related. The mechatronics program in HAC is a reaction to the need of us, Snyder's, mechanical companies that did not have the employees. They saw a portion of their employees going towards retirement. So they said, look, if you can train these people and educate them, we will have jobs for them immediately, just like they did with nursing. But that took an industrial roundtable of those businesses talking to the IDA. HAC is there and going, well, let's see what we can do to work together on this. Both Randy and Harry are correct about diversifying this. With ag, yes, we can keep doing the same thing. Although I'll make an argument that ag has never always done the same thing, or we'd be climbing 40, 50-foot apple trees today, and we're not putting them on trellises, and we're using computers to plot the lines. So everything is changing. Some things that have changed that we have not kept pace with is we do not have a digital infrastructure that a lot of businesses are looking for. That is critical. It's no longer water and sewer and roads. If you're not on the digital highway, your business is being left behind. So what I want to say is we need to cooperate, invest back in our downtowns, which is why we approved a $1.7 million loan for the Ready Project in Gettysburg. And I'll stop there, Mr. Herman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Qualley. Governments are constantly having to do more with less while trying to keep property taxes attractable for businesses and homeowners. How would you work to keep county property taxes at a livable level here in Adams County? And Mr. Pauly, we'll start with you.
Yeah, there's the $1 million question, literally the $1 million question. I'd say one thing that we have been doing and will continue to do is, actually right to 1 million, is keep an eye on our healthcare costs. One of the things we did when we took office, we did not simply sit back and take business as usual and use a company that a lot of counties use. And we actually brought in a local consultant who'd been working with the county for years through their insurance company, changed the way we did healthcare. We changed the way we did it 3 years in a row. And we have saved over $1 million in doing that. When we took office, and this actually has its roots from back when I was a county auditor, and one of the jobs as a county auditor is you go through every single department. You see every line item. It gave me such a wealth of knowledge when I walked into that building and gave me the financial experience to say, here are our target areas. Rents were huge for me. When you're spending $500,000 a year renting properties with escalation clauses in them, and you look at the interest rates we have now, based upon our strong bond rating, which has been developed over years. Before we were there, it was going up. Our job was to be good stewards and keep it there. The ability to purchase a building and have a mortgage that is less than our rents prevents a tax increase. Changing our health insurance prevents a tax increase. Creating a group of what I call the best and brightest in the county within the courthouse of employees, our financial review team, that just came up with, honestly, every idea they could throw along the wall to see if it would stick. Ways to reduce our paper consumption. It seems silly, but when you have 500 employees, and at this point we're going to have about 600 computers, you start printing a lot of things. From the big projects of $1 million on health insurance down to, let's use half a ream of paper instead of a ream this month. We're about to the point where we can bring a tractor trailer load. We just have to be focused on what we do, make it more efficient, big picture and small picture. That is how we keep taxes down within the building. Outside the building, we've got to improve our tax base.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pauly. Mr. File.
That was such a good answer, I might just pass. An observation, I came from another federal government agency and also several businesses. I'll make an observation. When I walked through the courthouse, I was fairly quick to observe that Adams County government, just like I think many smaller county governments around the state, runs pretty lean and mean. They really do, folks. And we ran a situation where the directors have been asked to cut to the bone year after year after year. And sometimes, you really feel bad asking because there isn't too much more to cut. But you do ask, and you ask them to look at their budget every year and see what they can do. But obviously, you need to become more efficient in what you do. And, Marty mentioned this, but this healthcare issue, I almost pinched myself. When we came into office, it was about $5 or $5.3 million. It was due to go to 6.3 the next year, a $1 million increase. Well, we decided to look at programs, look at some different agents, look at programs, look at coverages, and by looking at emergency room costs, for example, which were going through the roof, looking at prescription coverages, instituting wellness programs. Long story short, our insurance premium is $5.3 million 4 years later. That totally defies the industry standard. And you know what? Our folks have good coverage. So, we're pretty proud of that. And that's just simply good, fiscal management. The other thing we had to do, we walked in the door, we needed a $27 million radio system. We had an aging fleet of vehicles. We were hauling prisoners around in a 180,000-mile van around the state. We needed a whole IT upgrade. We had some more records. It wasn't protected from a security standpoint, from a crashing standpoint. And so those were difficult decisions. But I think, including the recent Eric Jones situation, I think it's good, strong fiscal management. In the end, you know what? You do two things. You either decrease expenses or increase income. That's the only way it works. It doesn't work any other way.
Thank you, Mr. Pyle. Mr. Stokes.
I commend this board for their effort to keep this county budget as lean as possible, and I'm sure they're very sincere about what they do. I should note that one reason that the healthcare costs dropped from the previous board is that sadly, regrettably, we sold Green Acres Nursing Home. That removed 150, 160 people from the payroll. It also reduced medical disability claims by 90% because most of those disability claims came from the nursing home. So I would have to look a little bit more closely at the progress that has been made on insurance costs, but I should say that the county today is smaller than the county was when I assisted in running the county. Now, one of the first things I would do is try to decrease the cost of overhead in the commissioner's office. I would like to see the commissioners take back the direct running of the county and eliminate the county manager position. This position costs us about $133,000 per year. I don't think this position has been healthy for the way we govern ourselves within the county system. Judges don't make budgets, county commissioners do. County commissioners are responsible for spending. So county commissioners play a special role in giving proper support to the county judiciary, but also at the same time controlling expenses. I view the combined human services building as a flawed concept, and it will also be expensive for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stokes. Mr. Pyle, would you like a rebuttal to the?
Yeah, I just, what you heard me say was health insurance for our employees was going to go in 2012 or 13 from 5.3 to 6.3. That had nothing to do with the nursing home. The nursing home was already gone. I think in today's climate, staying flat for 4 years from 2012 and 2015, no matter what the case, speaks volumes for itself. Also, concerning the county manager, it's my understanding that the first board to recommend a county manager was Mr. Stokes' board. In fact, they not only recommended it, they actually recommended Mr. Weaver and actually had projected some money in the following year's budget. So it seems respectfully a little strange that initially it was a recommendation by that board, and now it's not a good idea anymore.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pyle. Mr. Stokes, you want 1 minute, only on the county manager.
Right, we made a decision not to hire a county manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stokes. How do you ensure county government is completely transparent as mandated under the law? Mr. Stokes, we'll start with you for that one.
Transparency is critical. It's important. It's really what makes county government work. Participation by the citizens of Adams County and a diverse group of citizens in boards and commissions, and a sense of welcome into public meetings. These are all very important things. Good and thorough minute taking in all of the official meetings, including the work session, is critical. Good and open debate and a free play of ideas, obviously respectful and civil, but nevertheless, ranging, is a good thing in commissioner meetings. Ease of access to the commissioner meeting room, a sense of welcome in the commissioner's meeting room. During the 13 years that I served, we had only a very limited right to know process because we shared information, documents, decision-making minutes, and so on, very freely. Almost all of our records, only our personnel records were, and then most of those were accessible to the public. So I think transparency, it's something you have to do by the book according to the Sunshine Law, but it's also an attitude and a way in which you project yourselves to the people you serve.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stokes. Mr. File, same question, please.
Well, I think when we took office, we actually sat down, we took some time before we even walked in the door. We actually met in my private office on trying to get a jump on things, and we actually came out with five priorities and 5 goals. One was a radio project, another was enhanced communication. 2, those staff and the public. You know, as a result of that, I think we've done 14 public commissioners forums around the county, and we really attempted to go to the outreaches of the county. If I had the list there, I'd read it to you, but I mean, from Buchanan Valley to Littlestown to York Springs to New Oxford, we've been there. We've almost purposely kept them away from Gettysburg to some degree because, you know, many folks around the county think we're Gettysburg centrics, and we try and avoid that perception. So we have community forums. Usually they're subject related. Folks are welcome to speak, ask questions, and they do. We just had one on mental health here a week or 2 ago, which was very well attended, incidentally. Also, after a short time in office, I felt, how do you reach out to 500 people and you hope to get around and talk to folks more than you do, but it's just too busy. I go up to TGIF. Many of you in this room, I send it out every 2 weeks. I write every word personally. It really is a pretty good synopsis of what's going on. And actually, it's taken hold of the community, and that's been a great vehicle for doing that. We also have senior staff meetings, potentially on a more frequent basis than they've been held before, to have better communications with our staff. The other thing we did is, in our IT upgrade, we have a wonderful website now, and it's interactive, where folks can get information, but they can also do county business on that website. Our door is always open. We say to folks, if you want to come in and talk to us, come in and talk to us. And it's surprising how few people do. So, I mean, Jim, Marty, and I are about the easiest guys to approach and talk to in the appropriate setting that you can imagine. So, I think we've done a very good job of communicating with our residents.
Thank you very much, Mr. File. Mr. Qualley, your question.
I'm going to be very careful with how I answer a question about the Sunshine Law, because right now we're sitting in this room at an unpublicized meeting with 2 county commissioners sitting here. So if we actually discuss or deliberate how we're going to vote on something, we could be sued. That's how strange it is. We have a meeting every week, which it's a very odd feeling because it really is, the public is allowed to come in, look at the agenda, and come and kind of watch you work. But some people think that's all there is to being transparent in government. My wife can attest to me getting a phone call at 10:30 at night, followed by a phone call in the morning at 7 o'clock, because I've made the mistake of telling people, I'm normally up by 5:30 anyhow, I can't sleep. So I get those phone calls. In my literature, I sent out probably 5,000 in this first batch, 7,000 in the next batch. Every single one of them has my personal cell phone, 339-6514. Anybody can call me with a question. A lot of people use the right to know vehicle as the only way to get information. And I try to say to them, just call me. You have my phone number. I've known you for years. If you have a question, talk to me. Legally, there may be some things I can't just blurt out. But there's a lot of information that you can learn about what the county is doing simply by asking. Commissioner File mentioned our community forums. I love those. It is a way for us to reach out to the community, come up with issues that aren't, we're not bringing them up. This is, when the DA and drug task force is saying, hey, we need to educate people on prescription drug overdoses and heroin addiction. So we say, okay, let's get the forum together. You tell us the experts. We'll listen, we'll ask some questions, and we'll have the public ask some questions if they can as well. And it has been very well received. And the challenge was we want to do them in the evening, far away from Gettysburg. Sometimes we do meetings during the day. People who work during the day can't make it. You do evening meetings at night, people with kids can't make it. So we're trying to come up with more diverse ways to get messages out to people. They're all filmed, they're all in the newspaper. The filming is great. Tonight we have Fairfield United filming us, which means now this goes onto the computer, and people who couldn't make it here tonight can watch this. When we first took office, we paid community media to film some of our meetings, and to film some of our forums, so we could get that out to the public. The biggest challenge is most people don't know what county commissioners do, and a lot of people just don't reach out and ask questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Qualley. Next question. Most of the youth graduating from high school leave the area because of lack of employment opportunities. This leaves an increasing aging population in Adams County. What planning should be in place to address the needs of our seniors here in Adams County? And Mr. Qualley, we'll start with you.
What should be in place?
What planning should be in place to address the needs of seniors here in Adams County?
Okay, well, to put it in perspective, one of my jokes with Commissioner File is he was in the Park Service as long as I was alive. So it is actually, it's a very alarming demographic in Adams County because we are seeing a lot of our younger people leaving. And a lot of that goes back to jobs and quality of life. I think that when you're planning for an aging population, a lot of that on a physical level will come down to building code of doing your entire life construction project, where you actually build a house. You build the buildings like they have here at the Brethren Home, where you can age in place. I think that these communities are doing a great job of planning for an aging population. I think that on the county level, if you plan to have more centralized services, that helps an aging population. Keeping your public transportation in urban areas is a great idea. One of the things I thought was a great addition with the Human Services Building is it gives us an opportunity to add funding to rapid transit, which makes them an even stronger organization. Part of me wishes that Jim Martin was here because he would ace this one since he is on the board of the Department of Aging. And one of their, I don't know if it's a policy or if it's just a preference, is for them to have an Adams County Commissioner on the board. That way we are kept in the loop as far as what their needs are. Adding mental health services to Adams County was incredibly important, not just for children. We think about this as just a children and youth issue because that's what we're doing with our building, but they also help coordinate transportation with rapid transit. The vans that are specifically going to other people's houses. And mental health issues are not just for the young. So while we will have an aging population, how I do like to look at this is the other way. Let's find ways to keep the younger people from leaving. We have 4 children. I want them all to live here. I want them all to work here. It is a great place. So let's find ways to keep them here so that we start having a long continuum of age, from youth to middle age to older, not just, how are we going to deal with just older or just youth? We got to get that continuum there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Qualley. Mr. Stokes.
What I want, Marty, are some grandchildren. I'm still waiting. Quality of life. That is the core of our economic development strategy. Many of our young people are returning to Adams County, and we should take a lesson from that. As long as we keep the production side of our economy very, very strong, then the service side of our economy will also flourish and grow. The production side of our economy generally provides an economic multiplier effect of 7 to 10 times. So that when you grow an apple or a kiwi berry, which is a brand new fruit in Adams County, you also provide all kinds of jobs and all kinds of opportunities, especially for clever young people who can migrate or deal with this digital age. I'll just give an example. In my own small business, we employ 5 young people, recent college grads, and they have really launched the business on a global platform by use of the web and other means of digital communication. And so every day in the office, we get dozens of calls from all corners of the world. So I think there's a great potential for Adams County, and we shouldn't always beat ourselves up and say, oh my God, we're losing our youth. In general, the population is aging throughout America. But if we maintain and enhance our quality of life, our children will come back.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stokes. Mr. File.
Well, I'm actually valued 50-50 now. I have 4 children. 3 left, 1 stayed. Now 1 more's come back. So now I have 2 back, and it's wonderful. There's no doubt that we have to have, I think, a training ground for jobs and careers that fit the bill in Adams County. We certainly talk about ag a lot, and I mentioned hopefully the opportunity for the expansion of ag tech positions in Adams County. But also, Marty mentioned megatronics. HAC has started a program that in manufacturing facilities, they cannot find folks to fix equipment. There's tremendous demand for this. And we have some manufacturing in Adams County, not enough, but we have some. So you need to recognize whether it's megatronics, whether it's ag tech, whether it's X-ray technology, whether it's building trades. And we are fortunate that in the Adams County, we have the VOTEC out at the Gettysburg High School now. And I actually substitute taught there for a bit several years ago when I retired from the National Park Service. It's a wonderful opportunity. We also, I found from being in this position that I'm not sure in Adams County how fully we realize that HAC is a wonderful resource. HAC is a resource that is especially targeted toward that audience, whether it's training younger folks who are still in high school or they're beginning college, but even moving to training older folks to some degree. So, I think those are the kind of opportunities we need to develop. But we also have to recognize that, like my one daughter, she wants to be in an urban area, and she's not coming back to Adams County. And I've learned to accept that. So now I get to go visit her. So, we have to create the opportunities, and we are doing that. We need to do a better job.
Thank you very much, Mr. File. Next question, we'll actually start with Mr. File. In which ways can the county commissioners support emergency responders here in Adams County?
Marty's laughing because he knows emergency response is my cup of tea. I spent 30 years working the street, with a lot of emergency responders who still exist. Obviously, on Tuesday, we turned the emergency radio on for law enforcement. It was a great day in Adams County to be able to do that. And, I want to thank a lot of people for that. It's working wonderfully. And by the end of the year, it'll be turned on for, all emergency services. But with that being said, we have a perfect storm brewing in emergency services in Adams County, folks. We have lack of volunteerism, increased training requirements, increased cost of equipment. For example, do 5 companies need a tower truck that costs $1 million beside each other? And we have huge workers' comp costs. Consolidation and regionalization will eventually come, but it will only come, unfortunately, because of necessity, not because of good common sense. I initiated and led talks with WellSpan and consequently chaired the Adams County EMS Steering Committee. It wasn't totally successful when Hanover Hospital decided to stay in the ALS business, but it got talks started. And at this point, I was asked to and serve on the Adams Regional EMS joiner between New Oxford and United. Fairfield's involved in that, which serves 14 of our 32 municipalities, and in my opinion, is going to be the springboard and catalyst for consolidation of emergency services, in Adams County. I mentioned the Adams County Law Enforcement Firearms Training Range earlier. It's been languishing for 15 years. We figured out a way to facilitate that at the 911 center. It's passed for ban zoning. Thank Sheriff Muller back there. And the way it looks, we're going to use a public-private partnership and build that without any taxpayer money whatsoever. And hopefully in the next year, that's going to be up. You might have heard about, I'm on the CCAP Board of Directors. Our priority last year was getting the 911 fee on all devices to offset some of the cost of running our 911 operations. Unfortunately, that's been a huge deficit from every county's general fund. And that passed, and hopefully that's going to help the county tax burden by putting a fee on users as opposed to every resident, especially the elderly, were being really attacked because they have the landlines, is only being taxed on landlines.
Thank you very much, Mr. File. Mr. Qualley.
I would piggyback on what Mr. File had said about the, when we started lobbying the state reps, because what was happening was every phone had a tax put on it, with a fee every month on your phone. And it was less for cell phones than it was for landlines. So that's what it means by senior citizens were being overly taxed. As opposed to my family, we have no landline. I'm paying tax on 2 devices now. Between all of us, I think we have 8 altogether that are paying taxes on. There's only 6 of us. I think, to go back to one of my earlier points, the best way we can help first responders and face this challenge with volunteers, and not just the fire, but the police and EMS, is actually to listen to them. One of the things that I learned during the radio project when we first took office was that people who are in fire departments or in first response, they are very insular. They knew it was a problem. To them, it was obvious that the 911 system, that the radios weren't working. And they looked at us and were like, well, it's obvious. We're like, how do you know? Well, all my friends know. My family know. My community knows. So, well, are all of them also first responders? Well, yeah. That was a part of our community for so long. But we've changed as a county. Over the years, people have moved in, people have moved out. People can't always afford to volunteer. If you have a fire during the day, that's one of the worst times, because a lot of your first responders are out of the area working. So one thing we can do, not to keep going back to it, but if we improve the economy here and we keep some of those jobs here, we'll keep some of our first responders here as well. The firing range is a good idea. It's going to help to promote training. It's going to keep their costs down. The cost for volunteers down, the trainings that they have to do to make sure that they are licensed to do what they're doing, permitted, is becoming ridiculous, and they're paying it out of pocket. So they're trying to keep a family together. They're trying to keep a house. They're keeping their job, and they want to give back to their community. They really, really want to continue to help serve. And we can help. Again, Commissioner File takes more of the lead on this. It's sort of the paradigm that we've taken, is that one of us is an expert in something. They take the lead. They attend all of those meetings and report back to the other ones. So Randy does a much better job of attending different fire company meetings than I do. So I'll yield to his comments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Qualley. Mr. Stokes.
The second elected board of commissioners I served on really paved the way for the emergency management center or facility out of the Adams County Facility Center. And we partnered with the community and raised funds for the emergency management and 911 center. And we upgraded and modernized the 911 center and moved it from the basement of the courthouse out to the new facility. When we built that building, we also added very substantial space for fire training and police training. We also laid out the location for the shooting range, and we sought to drive a stake in terms of planning to really let Strabane Township know that we wanted to have a special exception use for that firing range out behind the Emergency Management Center. And indeed, it is a remarkably great place for it. To find the Adams Facility Center, we did a exhaustive countywide search to really locate that center. And obviously today that center serves several important purposes, from prison to work release to EMS, with room to add other vital services in the future.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stokes. At this moment, I would like to ask Mrs. Martin to please come back up. We'll now do the 2-minute closing statements in reverse order of the opening statement. So, Mr. Stokes, we'll start with you this time.
All right. Thank you, Alex. Well, it's been a pleasure to be here and to be with Randy and Marty and Jim's wife, and give best wishes to Jim. We have an opportunity to go back to guiding principles with this new board and to really focus on how we grow and change. We are coming out of a very difficult time with the Great Recession. That Great Recession was one of the reasons why the Adams County reassessment was so difficult for us and provided such difficult values, which we have not gotten over yet. One of the things that I would promote under a new Board of Commissioners is doing an in-house reval to try to straighten out our reassessment values and to reduce the coefficient of dispersion and bring these values back close to par or to 1. We are in a ridiculous position now where our common level ratio value is below 1, which means that our assessed value on many of our properties is higher than a realistic sale value. So that's a big problem we need to straighten out. There is also tremendous opportunity to save in our criminal justice system and our courts, and to really move into treatment courts and to try to reduce the cost of incarceration in Adams County. If we save 10%, we have $1 million off of the current budget.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stokes. Mr. Cloud.
Well, does everyone always agree? No, we don't always agree tonight. But when it comes to current and future vision, I will tell you the vast majority of Adams County residents that I speak to tell me they think the current Board of Commissioners is doing a good job, that we seem to get along, get things done, and they plead. Don't turn into Washington, D.C., or most recently, Harrisburg at budget time right now. I hear that every single day. This board does act civilly, does their homework, gathers the facts, communicates, and makes good decisions. As part of that, we have forged an excellent and valuable relationship with our legislators. We brought that to new heights. It's resulted in benefits never seen before in Adams County, thus bringing in and saving millions of dollars. We've been moving communication to our residents and staff with 14 Commissioner community forums, creating a friendly interactive website, and putting out award-winning community and staff newsletters. Our newsletter got the CCAP Newsletter of the Year award at the state level. And for supporting Adams County economic development, this board got the Frank J. Sapp Award in 2013 for that effort. The motto of Jim and my campaign, and I believe the motto that also applies to this current board, is experience, leadership, vision, and common sense. And leading up with those 4 words lightly. Common sense is a word not applied often enough in our world today, and especially in government. With huge deficits, a pension crisis, budgets that can't get passed, and a healthcare fiasco, maybe we could improve with a little bit more business sense. Right now, you have a full-time Board of Commissioners that is engaged and totally committed to Adams County residents. Experience, leadership, vision, and common sense has been a proven hallmark of this board, with the ability to set goals, research a solution, and make a good decision. I have faith that Adams County residents have the knowledge to make those distinctions. We are 3 significantly different personalities, in case you haven't noticed. If there were 2 Martys, 2 Jims, or 2 Randys, it simply wouldn't work. So as I end tonight, I just want to recognize one person in the room. I've been in public public service for 38 years, and that's my wife, Kathy. And whether I'm traveling around the country, working 11 to 7 shifts, or walk out the door at 5:30 in the morning, come back at 10 at night, she's there. She's the most patient woman in the world. So I appreciate you coming tonight, and I want to thank the Cross Keys Village. We use the facility all the time. Frank, thank you and your staff for hosting us again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Quayle. Mr. Qualley, your closing statement, please.
Well, I think somebody took my closing statement from me. For those of you who came thinking this was going to be like the debates we see on TV, where they really do only focus on what they agree, I'm sorry to have disappointed you. On the local level, a lot of times, it's not always about what we disagree. We may start there, but you always try to end up finding some kind of common ground. I mentioned my wife, Elizabeth, earlier, and we got married about 2 years ago. And before we were both married before, we both had children before. And we had very different styles. Anyone who knows the two of us, then thank God there are not two of me. Our parenting values, it was a challenge for a while to try to blend our two families. But we're parents, and for the benefit of our family, we had to make it work. We had to make sure that our shared values, we come to some kind of common ground for our family. Creating a new board of county commissioners, blending elected officials is just as difficult. I'll reinforce what Randy said. We'll look at Harrisburg and see what happens when you have two groups that will not work to find common ground. That kind of gridlock, tell me, how is that working for us in the state? We don't want to see that. And I think I was very refreshed by tonight that that's what we're looking at is, of these 4 people, how do we pick 2? That is the challenge for everybody. My challenge is that I actually like all 3 of the candidates. I like myself as well, actually. Harry's intelligence and his passion for preservation is admirable, and I respect that. I respect Commissioner Files' law enforcement background, his business, recent and past, and his ability to find political consensus. It's not always easy up there. And Jim Martin's compassion and his hard work ethic completely define who he is. But in the end, you only get to vote for 2 of us. If you vote for me, it's a vote for economic development and preservation. It's a vote for improving county financing, for streamlining county government, and for an elected official who will listen to you 24/7. I'm asking for one of your votes on November 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Qualley. Finally, Mrs. Martin, on behalf of Mr. Martin.
I'd like to say thank you also to all of you who came out tonight and for your kind and patient attention. Thank you to the Cross Keys Village, and thank you to the Gettysburg Times for hosting this forum and giving these gentlemen a chance to display what they plan to do in office. Picture Jim Martin sitting here on this platform in place of me. I should have brought a cardboard cutout or something. The future of Adams County will rest with 3 of these candidates. Adams County needs to re-elect Jim to serve as one of the 3. Why? Because Jim is committed to perform in this office as he has for nearly 4 years. He does not have to recreate himself to be electable. His credentials and character speak for themselves and are validations of his high qualifications to fill the office for another term. Knowing Jim as I have for over 40 years, I can honestly say you may vote with confidence that he will serve with 100% effort and strive to accomplish what is in the best interest of Adams County. Jim would count it as an honor and a privilege to have your vote and would gladly serve a 2nd term as your Adams County Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Martin. And now I get to break my own rules because I'm a moderator and I can do that kind of thing. In the front row, we have Alice, who is a 100-year-old resident of Adams, or the Brethren Home community. She's a resident of the Brethren Home community who is 103 years old.
She's here 33.
She's here 33 years. I'm sorry, my boss is trying to confuse me like usual. So, and last week was her birthday, so I'm going to break my round of applause rules. Let's all give Alice a round of applause. Thank you very much, and thank you to the candidates for taking their time to share their views here and with the voters. And we would like to also thank Cross Keys Village, the Brethren Home community, for providing this space for tonight's debate, and also for the Cross Keys residents for helping to organize it. The forum will be showed on community media within the next couple days, so keep an eye out for that. We always like our partnership with them as well. For those of you who have been here before, you know what I'm about to say, because I close all of these debates by reminding people, by saying that reminding you guys to go vote is pointless. You won't be here if you didn't plan to go vote on November 3rd. But what I'd like you to do is invite at least 2 people, no matter what their political views are, to go to the polls with you, because our numbers suck. I mean, there's no other way to say it. So please, let's not have 25%. Let's make Adams County a model for the rest of Pennsylvania and therefore the nation. We have a little less than 2 weeks to the election, so make sure you take time to know every single candidate on the ballot. Many people often ask me, will you print ballots in the newspaper? We have 34 municipalities, a lot more precincts. I don't have paper for that. So please go to adamscounty.us. All of the ballots should be there in their entirety. Please study them so you are not blindsided when you walk into that polling place. And people are also invited to write a letter to the editor of the Gettysburg Times, me, in support of their candidate of choice. All letters must be 400 words or less and emailed to editor@gettysburgtimes.com no later than Sunday, October 25th. And also on Tuesday, we will publish our annual election guide and will be inserted into the paper. So once again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I think it's been a great evening, and drive home safe.
I got a quick picture.
Yes, Jenny, you like to take a picture?
No, I would not, thank you.
Really, Jenny, it would be much better if you.
Hopefully you can keep it.
Okay.
I started. And it's on here. Good luck.
No.
I'm sorry.